Hey guys, if you like my videos, please like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it, thanks. And also let me know where y'all are watching from and at what time. I'm curious. You ever wake up because the world feels wrong? Not like, oh, I forgot to set my alarm wrong. I mean bone-deep, skin-crawling, teeth-on-edge kind of wrong. That's how it started. One second I was out cold in my sleeping bag under a sky full of stars. The next I was wide awake and sweating, heart racing like I'd just outrun a grizzly, with this pressure in my chest like something was leaning on me. Not a sound, not even crickets, just stillness. And then the sky screamed. I know how it sounds, but I swear the stars twitched, like someone shook the whole sky and forgot to tell gravity. I sat up so fast I smacked my head on the tent ceiling. My ears were ringing, but it wasn't noise. It was silence pretending to be a scream. Outside, I heard rustling, footsteps, panicked breath. I unzipped the tent and nearly tripped over Connor, already out, pacing like a madman. His eyes were wide, and he was muttering, "It went in, man. I saw it crawl in." "What are you talking about?" I said, still halfway between dream and waking. Behind him, Jen and Tyler were out too, pale and wild-eyed. "Tell me this," Jen said. "In your dream, did you see something crawl into Lucas's tent?" That stopped me cold. It wasn't a question you ask unless you know the answer. I think I did," I said, heart lurching. "A shadow, long arms, no face." Connor nodded like a bobblehead on a speed bump. "It didn't walk, it slid, like smoke that knew how to crawl." "We all saw it," Tyler said, voice cracking. "Same dream. Exactly the same. That's not normal." The silence between us stretched so long I thought the trees would lean in and whisper something unhelpful. Then Jen said, "We need to check on Lucas." We rushed over. No one wanted to be the first to open the flap, so naturally I did. I don't know why I always get voted tribute for these things. Maybe because I once slept through a black bear sniffing my tent, and now everyone thinks I'm fearless. I'm not. I'm just stupid in a crisis. Lucas lay inside his bag, breathing slow, eyes closed, no blood, no signs of struggle. Except he wouldn't wake up. Not from shaking, yelling, clapping. Tyler even tried blasting dubstep on his phone like a lunatic exorcist. Nothing. He was in there. Just somewhere else. "Lucas," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. "If this is a prank, you win. You get my Oreos. I'll even carry your gear." Still nothing. And that's when I realized none of us were scared of the dark. We were scared of what might still be inside it. We spent the first hour trying everything short of a defibrillator to wake Lucas. Cold water, check. Rough shaking, check. Screaming in his ear like a banshee with a megaphone, triple check. Lucas just lay there like someone had hit the pause button on his brain. No twitch, no mumble. Just slow, steady breathing, like he was deep underwater and perfectly at peace, which given the situation made it all more disturbing. "Maybe he's sleepwalking inside his own head," Tyler said, crouching beside him, like sleep marathoning. "Not helping," Jen muttered. She kept flicking her flashlight beam across the trees like she expected something to jump out and ask if we'd seen its shadow anywhere. Connor, meanwhile, was pacing again. He does that when he's nervous. Burns calories instead of talking. "Look," he said finally, "we're deep in the woods, no cell signal, 6 miles from the ranger station, and one of us is comatose. I say we pack up and hike out, now." "We can't carry Lucas 6 miles, Jen shot back. "Not without a stretcher, and we don't even know what's wrong with him." I knelt next to Lucas and put a hand on his shoulder, still warm, still breathing. But his skin had this cold dampness to it, like he'd been lying in a basement somewhere instead of a nylon tent. Then I noticed something else. My watch. It had stopped at 3:17 a.m. "Weird," I said. "My watch is dead. Anyone else's?" Connor checked his. 3:17. Jen looked down. "Mine too, huh?" Tyler's phone, which had been fine earlier and definitely still cursed with dubstep, showed 3:17 and wouldn't respond. Not frozen, just inert, like time had decided we didn't need it anymore. "This is officially messed up," I said, trying to joke. "We're living in a Twilight Zone reboot and Lucas is auditioning for the lead." Connor didn't laugh. "Maybe that thing we saw, what if it's still around?" That shut us up. A gust of wind picked up then, shaking the trees hard enough to drop pine needles on our heads. Somewhere in the distance, a branch snapped. Loud, heavy, like something big was out there. "We shouldn't split up," I said. "We stay here tonight. Keep watch in pairs. Make sure no one else falls into a dream coma." "Great," Tyler muttered. "Dream poltergeist's just what I needed." We dragged Lucas's tent into the middle of camp so we could all keep eyes on it. I sat with Jen for the first shift. Connor and Tyler agreed to go after. We didn't talk much, just sipped coffee and stared into the fire like it might give us answers. Lucas didn't move once. But sometime near dawn, just as the sky turned purple, I thought I heard him whisper. But when I leaned in, it wasn't his voice. At first I thought I imagined it, the whisper, I mean, that thin rasp that barely registered above the crackle of the dying fire. But it wasn't wind, it wasn't the trees. It was a voice, a breath from inside Lucas's tent, and it said one word: "Stay." Now, normally that'd be enough for me to pack up my tent, hike to civilization, and become an accountant or something equally safe and ghost-free. But this was Lucas, and whatever had him in its grip wasn't done. By sunrise, the whole group was awake again. No one had really slept, not properly. The air felt heavier than before, like the forest had grown denser around us, pressing in. Jen broke the silence. "Let's go over our dreams, every detail." "I don't know if that's a good idea," Connor said. "Too late for good ideas," I said. "We're in the discount bin now." So we went around the circle, each recounting what we remembered, and it wasn't just similar, it was identical. We all saw the same crooked shadow slithering between tents, same sickle-shaped fingers, same moment when it reached Lucas's bag and crawled in like a boneless animal, vanishing into the folds. Mark lifted his pant leg. "I didn't notice this yesterday," he said. "There were 3 scratch marks on his ankle, long, parallel, and shallow enough to not hurt but deep enough to be real." We stared at them in stunned silence. "You dreamed that thing grabbed your leg, didn't you?" Jen asked. Mark nodded. "I didn't dream it," he whispered. "I think it happened." Connor cursed under his breath. "So what are we saying here? That we all had a shared nightmare and now it's turning physical?" "No," I said slowly. "We're saying we remembered something real. Something we all saw happen together, but maybe our brains couldn't handle it." Tyler grabbed his phone again, still frozen at 3:17. Battery icon full, no signal. It was like time had flatlined. "Nothing works," he said. "My GPS, my compass app, even my flashlight flickers now." We were cut off, isolated, trapped not just by location but by something deeper, something reaching into us, curling up in our thoughts like a spider in a shoe. That night we didn't sleep by accident. We set alarms, made coffee, took turns keeping watch. Didn't matter. I must have blinked too long because suddenly I was back, in the dream. Same woods but drained of color. Lucas standing under a pine tree, lips moving. He was whispering to the shadow, and the shadow leaned close, like it was listening. I tried to scream, to run. Instead, I sank into the ground like mud swallowing a boot. When I woke up, I was outside my tent, face in the dirt, hands shaking. Lucas still unconscious, but now I could hear someone else talking in their sleep. Mark didn't come out of his tent that morning, which was weird. He was always first up. The guy treated breakfast like a religious ceremony, complete with instant coffee, tactical granola, and a bizarre devotion to lukewarm oatmeal. But that morning, silence. "Mark," I called, tapping the canvas. "You alive in there, or did the dream demons finally get tired of just whispering?" No answer. I unzipped his tent, expecting to see him scrolling through his phone or snoring with his mouth open like a busted vent. Instead, I found him the same way we found Lucas, lying stiff as a statue, eyes shut, breathing shallow, no blood, no bruises, just gone. "Guys," I said, backing away, "we've got a second sleeper." Jen rushed over, face pale. She checked his pulse. "It's there, barely." Connor stared at the 2 tents like they might get up and start talking. "We need to leave, now. Carry them if we have to. We wait any longer, we'll all be next." Just then we heard a loud humming sound, and then there was the sound of a sharp shriek, like nails on a chalkboard. We grabbed our heads in pain. What was that? What were we talking about? Lucas still hasn't woken up, Tyler muttered. And now Mark's out too. What is this, a chain reaction? I felt it then, a low, rumbling dread, like the forest had its mouth open and we were inches from falling in. We stick together, I said. No one goes off alone. Not to pee, not to collect firewood, not even for a dramatic reflection, got it? Tyler gave me a sarcastic salute. Aye, Captain Campfire. We gathered the sleeping bags in a tight circle and moved the tents even closer, setting a small fire between them. It felt safer somehow, being within arm's reach. That night we set up a schedule. 2 awake, 2 resting. I got the first shift with Jen again. We sat under the stars, which looked dimmer than usual, like someone had turned the night down a notch. Around 3 a.m., of course, it happened. Tyler was gone. 1 second he was snoring in his sleeping bag, and the next, poof, no rustling, no footsteps, just gone. We panicked, grabbed flashlights, yelled his name until the trees echoed back nonsense. It was Jen who spotted him, half a mile from camp, standing in the middle of a clearing, arms limp, eyes closed, mouth moving. I reached him first, heart jackhammering. He was whispering something over and over. It's not a dream, it's a place. It's not a dream, it's a place. I grabbed his shoulders. Tyler, snap out of it. His eyes opened, white, no iris, no pupil. Then everything went dark, like someone threw a tarp over the moon. I woke up in the clearing alone, covered in pine needles, and when I stumbled back to camp, Tyler was there, sleeping peacefully, like nothing had happened. I don't remember walking back to camp. 1 minute I was standing in the clearing where Tyler had whispered to the trees. The next, I was stepping over a log near the fire pit like I'd just gone to relieve myself. No scratches, no pine needles, no explanation. Everyone was awake, even Tyler. He blinked at me, confused. Dude, why are you drenched in sweat? I started, then stopped. You were gone. You walked into the woods. You were whispering something. Tyler shook his head. No, I've been here. I didn't leave. Jen stepped forward, pale and serious. I was awake the whole time. You're the one who vanished. I laughed, a sharp, brittle sound. Right, of course, makes total sense. Maybe next we can take turns spontaneously combusting. Then I noticed the firewood, stacked differently. Not how I left it. Someone had added fresh logs, neatly arranged like a lumberjack with OCD had come through. That's when I realized something else. The dream wasn't over. That night, when I finally allowed myself to sleep, it felt immediate. No drift, no dreams of falling or flying or losing my homework. Just there, like teleporting into a bad memory. Except this time I wasn't alone. The woods were empty, colorless, lit by a pale glow that didn't come from the moon. In the distance I saw our tents, all 5 of them lined up too perfectly. Then I saw me. I was crouched by the fire, staring into the flames. Same clothes, same face. But this version of me didn't look tired. He looked hungry. He turned his head and smiled. I don't smile like that. Not unless I'm about to beat someone at Mario Kart. Fake me got up and started walking toward the tents, toward Jen, Mark, Lucas, and Tyler. One by one he stood over them, whispering something I couldn't hear. I tried to run, but my feet sank into the ground like wet cement. I screamed, loud and furious. It came out like static. Fake me looked up, locked eyes with me, and winked. Then I was awake, back in my tent. Only it wasn't my tent anymore. It was darker, smaller, and the air smelled like mildew and burnt hair. I crawled out fast and stumbled back into the firelight. The others were asleep again, every single one, and all 5 tents were back in a perfect circle, just like the dream. Except mine. Mine was gone. I stared into the trees, certain I'd see that copy of me watching from the shadows. Instead, I saw 5 sets of eyes, and only 4 belonged to my friends. The next morning, I didn't tell them about the 5th set of eyes. I wanted to. I even rehearsed it in my head, something casual like, "Hey gang, anyone else see a dream doppelganger lurking in the woods last night?" But no version of that didn't sound like I'd finally cracked, so instead I helped stoke the fire and passed around breakfast bars like everything was normal. No one mentioned the rearranged tents, or the fact that Tyler was now humming to himself in short repeating bursts like a broken vinyl. It was Jen who finally said what we were all thinking. "This place is doing something to us." No one disagreed, so we did the only thing we could think of. We started walking, away from the camp, away from whatever had infected our sleep. We figured if it was tied to that spot, maybe distance would help. We walked for hours, no trail, just compass bearings and crossed fingers. The trees got thicker, the air colder. At some point we stopped to rest, and that's when we saw it. A circle of pine trees, perfectly spaced, each trunk marked with a deep vertical scar, like something had clawed down them from a great height. The branches above formed a jagged dome, filtering the light into sharp angles. It felt like standing in the middle of a giant eye. "What is this?" Connor whispered. Jen turned in a slow circle. This is the place. From the dreams." She was right. The trees, the shape, the silence. This was the final image we'd all seen. Right before the shadow consumed Lucas. I tried to make light of it. "Cool. So we found the IKEA of ancient evil. All that's missing is a pamphlet and a set of confusing hex keys." No one laughed. We didn't speak for a long time. Finally, Tyler broke the silence. "What if it's not just a dream or a memory? What if it's pulling us into something older? A place that remembers us?" "Like a loop," I said. "And the more we dream, the more we feed it." Connor rubbed his face. "So what? We sleep and it eats our minds, our memories?" Jen nodded. "Our identities. That's why Lucas won't wake up, and why Mark's fading too." We made camp just outside the circle, agreeing we'd sleep in shifts again, but this time we'd document everything. Write down our dreams, use timers, try to catch it in the act. As we set up the tents again, I noticed something else. Our campsite, identical to the first one. Same formation, same fallen log. Even the fire pit was already there. Tyler muttered, "I think we never left." And deep down, I believed him. That night I sat next to the fire, eyes wide open. But when I blinked, just once, I saw all of us again asleep around the fire. Only this time, we weren't alone. The shadow had a hand on each of our chests. We tried everything not to sleep. Energy drinks, coffee, slapping each other in the face. Real Three Stooges stuff. Jen even suggested playing trivia to keep our brains sharp, but it devolved into Connor yelling, "Who cares about the capital of Wyoming?" and Tyler arguing that it was definitely Idaho. But eventually sleep won, not the slow drift, not the heavy eyelids and warm blanket kind. This was snap into the dream territory. One second I was poking the fire with a stick, the next, I was standing in the middle of the pine circle again. Only this time, we were all there. All 5 of us, wide awake in the dream, Lucas included. He looked awful. Skin pale, eyes dull, like someone had turned his brightness down. He stood behind the others, unmoving, and whispered the same word over and over. "Remember, remember." The trees pulsed with a dull red glow. The air smelled like burnt ozone and wet copper. Then it appeared. The shadow wasn't humanoid anymore. It had grown, tall, spindly, dozens of arms twitching and weaving like branches caught in wind, and no face. Just a hollow where a face should have been, filled with shifting mouths and blinking eyes. It didn't speak with words. It projected images, feelings, memories. I saw flashes of myself at 7 crying over a scraped knee, of my dad laughing with me in the backyard, of the first time I kissed someone and didn't mess it up. The shadow ate those things bit by bit, like they were candy. I staggered back, suddenly unsure if I'd actually lived those moments or if they'd always belonged to someone else. Tyler was on his knees. "It's taking us. It's taking who we are." Jen clutched her head. "It doesn't want our bodies. It wants our stories." That hit me like a gut punch. It wasn't killing us. It was hollowing us out, turning us into shells with no past. That's why Lucas wouldn't wake. That's why Mark looked blanker each day. "Fight it," I yelled. "Don't let it in," Connor laughed bitterly. "Fight it how, man? It's inside our heads." I looked down. The fire in the dream still burned. "Together," I said. "We make fire. We make our fire. We remind ourselves who we are." And I grabbed a stick and carved my initials in the dirt. J.M. Jack Murdoch, son of Charles and Leanne, raised in Asheville, terrible at math, even worse at poker. One by one, the others did the same. Tyler shouted his birthday. Jen screamed her favorite song. Connor started quoting movie lines. Lucas opened his mouth, and the shadow screamed. A deep vibrating wail that cracked the trees. It vanished into the woods like a storm retreating. The color came back. The ground felt solid again. We were still in the dream, but now we could feel ourselves again. We woke up gasping, drenched in sweat. Mark stirred for the first time in days. He whispered, "It's not done." By the time the sun rose, we looked like a group of campers who had gone 12 rounds with a tornado and lost every single one. Mark was awake, but barely. His eyes were sunken, his voice a thin rasp. Still, he was back. That was something. Lucas, though, he hadn't moved. His breathing was steady, but it felt wrong now, like he was on a different rhythm than the rest of us. His chest rose when ours fell, like a heartbeat on a delay. We had one shot left, and we knew it. "We fight it in the dream," Jen said. "It's stronger there, but so are we. That's where it lives. That's where it's vulnerable." "I don't know," Connor said, rubbing his temples. "Last time I tried lucid dreaming, I ended up naked in my high school cafeteria, with lobster claws for hands." "Focus," I said, trying not to picture it. "We need to enter the dream together, like a shared door. We make it our space, our rules." Tyler, ever the gadget guy, dug through his pack and pulled out a battered old notebook. "We write down an anchor," he said. "A shared detail, something real that we'll look for in the dream to prove we're us." "A campfire," I said. "Same shape, same stone, same log. We build it here. We focus on it when we fall asleep." "And the chant," Jen added. "Something simple, to remind us who we are." So we built the fire, not just any fire, our fire. 5 stones, one from each of us, placed in a perfect circle. The log in the middle carved with our initials. I even added my awful middle name just for insurance. Then we sat around it, shoulder to shoulder, and closed our eyes. We chanted, "We are the 5, we are awake, this is not yours," over and over. And when the dream came, it came fast. We were all there, same clearing. But this time the fire was already lit, and Lucas was with us. He stood on the far side of the flames, eyes wide and blinking like he'd just stepped out of a long, dark tunnel. "Lucas," I called. He opened his mouth. "You have to go. It's inside me. It's—" The shadow rose behind him, bigger than ever, its limbs wrapped around him like roots from an old tree. Lucas didn't scream. He shuddered, like something was peeling him backward. We ran to him, but our legs moved like sludge. "No," Jen cried. "Pull him through the fire." I reached out, grabbed his hand, cold but real. The others joined, 5 hands pulling one, and together we dragged him forward. The fire roared, the shadow lunged. But it couldn't cross. It burned, not with flame but with memory. Names, laughter, that awful trivia game, Mark's oatmeal obsession, Tyler's endless humming. The shadow screamed and cracked apart, like a mirror shattering. Lucas collapsed into our arms, gasping. "I was there," he whispered. "So long. I thought I'd forgotten all of you." Lucas was back, but not whole. He looked at each of us like we were photographs from an old album. Familiar but distant. I saw something behind his eyes, too, like part of that thing was still inside him, burrowed deep. "We're not done," he rasped. "It's still hungry." Jen crouched beside him. "You remember us?" He nodded slowly. "Pieces, your names, faces, but other things are missing." Connor sat down hard, rubbing his forehead. "So what now? We had our final battle. We lit the dream bonfire. Shadow got roasted. Roll credits." "No," I said. "It's wounded, not dead. It was inside Lucas. That means part of it might still be in him." Lucas winced. "It's whispering, trying to get back in." Tyler grabbed the fire poker. "You want me to smack him with this, or—" "No," Jen snapped. "We need to finish this the way we started, in the dream, together." "Okay," I said. "But this time we do more than just light the fire. We burn what it feeds on, our memories." Connor blinked. "I like my memories." "We're not losing them," I said. "We're claiming them. We give up the ones it's already touched, burn the ones it tried to take." We each picked something. Jen took out a Polaroid of her and Lucas from college, his face already faded in the image. Tyler pulled a worn-out patch from a scout camp backpack, the name tag half erased. Mark whispered goodbye to a guitar pick his dad gave him, one he forgot he even had. I took a postcard. Asheville, 2002. My mom wrote it when she was still alive. I hadn't thought about it in years. Now it felt paper thin in my hand, like even the memory of it had been gnawed at. I don't want to forget her, I said, voice shaking. You won't, Lucas said. You're giving it to the fire, not losing it, saving it. That night, we sat around the campfire one last time, the real one, not dreamlight and illusion, real logs, real heat. The cold wind tried to snuff it out, but we kept feeding it. Then we slept. In the dream, the fire was there. So was the shadow, cracked, limping, furious. We stepped into the pine circle one by one and threw our memory objects into the flame. The shadow screamed, not like before. This time it was pain, rage, fear. Lucas stood up, unsteady, and threw in a single worn shoelace from his hiking boot. That's where it started, he said, when I let it in. The shadow rushed forward. The fire exploded into white light. The pine circle shook. The trees bent backward like they were screaming too. And then, silence. The shadow was gone. We woke up the next morning still around the fire. Lucas was awake. Mark was whole. We were all there, together. We didn't talk much that morning. There was no need. We knew it was over. You could feel it in the air. The tension gone, like the woods themselves had exhaled after holding their breath for too long. Even the light looked warmer, more golden than it had in days. Birds were back, so were the bugs. I never thought I'd be happy to hear a mosquito again. Lucas sipped coffee like it was holy water. His hands still shook, but there was color in his face again. I dreamed of you guys every night, he said quietly. Heard your voices. Thought they were just what was left of me. They were, Jen said. We left breadcrumbs, smoked, caffeinated breadcrumbs. Tyler grinned. You're lucky. If it were up to Connor, we'd have left you in the tent and taken your Oreos. Connor held up a hand. Objection, I would have shared them. We laughed. The world felt real again. We packed up slowly, no rush. Each of us double-checked the camp like we were saying goodbye to something sacred and dangerous. As we hiked back, we passed landmarks we didn't remember coming in by. An old signpost rusted to illegibility, a collapsed cabin smothered in moss, a dry creek bed lined with animal bones, all things we should have seen, but hadn't. When we reached the ranger station, the guy inside blinked at us like we were ghosts. You boys were up at Campground 9, he asked. Yeah, I said. Why? He scratched the back of his neck. That area's been closed for 20 years. Mudslides wiped it out. Forest Service never reopened it. We all looked at each other. Right, Connor muttered. Guess that explains the excellent Yelp reviews. We didn't argue, just signed out and walked to the lot. As we loaded our gear into Tyler's truck, I looked back at the trailhead. The trees were still, peaceful, like nothing had ever been wrong. But then I saw them, through the branches just beyond where the forest thickened. I saw a clearing, a fire pit, and 5 people sitting around it. Same setup, same clothes, same gear, same faces. They weren't moving, just watching, like mannequins waiting for someone to wind them up. I blinked. They were gone. Or maybe we were. I didn't tell the others, not then, but sometimes on quiet nights when the world gets too still, I dream of the circle of pines, of the fire, of us, still there, still dreaming, still holding on, and I wonder if maybe that thing didn't take our memories. Maybe it copied them. Maybe some part of us is still sitting around that fire, and maybe, just maybe, that's why we made it out, because the version that stayed behind made sure the rest of us could leave.